Dear. And welcome back to another episode of the Million Dollar Coach podcast, joined by my ever faithful cohort of Sam and Ash. How are you, team?
Doing great. How about yourself,
Wonderful.
Lisa?
Good, thank you. Good. I feel like I'm the chief cat herder when it comes to this podcast. The Fit affiliate one, I've just got to wrangle Tony, but now I've got you two guys, and occasionally Tony will ninja stalk us and bomb us.
Mm-hmm.
But today it's the A team. Like, let's just go with that. And it's open season. Unless you live in a rock and you are involved in CrossFit land, you know it's the open season. And the open season leads to a little bit of everyone getting cray.
Yeah.
So you've got, people wanting to do extras and redos and, crazy things. And unfortunately, it's generally led by the coaches who are actually doing the things. And that has a whole heap of ramifications when we're talking about influencing lives and changing people's lives. It comes a bit down to this time of year. It seems to be the mantra is do as I say, not as I do. So let's talk about that, because all of these sort of perceptions and observations that people make on us affect our ability to gain credibility and trust with our clients.
Yeah.
Who wants to lead off?
Well, I mean, I'm always ready for a hot take on something like this.
Fire away, Sam.
Yeah,
Well-
this is a lot to unpack. Sam, you can kick it off. I did last week.
I think that, where do I want to start with this? Like, do I want to start by pissing people off? Is a great question to ask myself.
Why not? This is what we're here for. It's to open the can of worms and dump it all on the table.
So I think, as a general statement, the percentage of people who are doing competitor programming who don't need to or have a reason to do competitor programming
I love the air quotes.
Yeah.
beyond I want to do more, right? And we can unpack a whole bunch of reasons why you might think that is a thing that is a good idea. I think the number of people doing individual competitive programming is way too high. I think that individual competitive programming is written with high level, quarterfinal, semifinal CrossFit athletes in mind. And I think the percentage of people, I'm guessing, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out that the percentage of people who are participating in that programming who are not at that level is greater than 50%. And so when I look at that and then I compare it to the CrossFit methodology that we know and love, which is, single workout of the day and seek intensity, not volume, and, mindful skill work and take your rest days, I see a big disconnect. And I think that all of that stuff that I just rattled off, those things that are the methodology, that is CrossFit. It's not someone's version of CrossFit. It's not what they were exposed to. That is CrossFit. And CrossFit has done a great job of using the open source platform of the internet and field testing all of this with 15,000 affiliates worldwide and the military and they have done a great job of kind of figuring out the best way to do this in a manner that's going to preserve people's ability to continue doing the things that they love for as long as possible, which is our goal. Is when I say our, is CrossFit's goal. Increase work capacity across broad time and modal domains throughout the years of your life. That's our definition for fitness and health. They have done all that work. And we, as a coaching community, muddy the waters and we muddy the message when we deviate from that methodology, and especially if we deviate it for the sake of looking fitter or I don't know what the hell, Like
Well, some of it is like, well, I'm doing, mayhem competition. It's just like an ego thing. If you're trying to be a fire breather, even in your own affiliate, it's like it's like a status.
And okay, great. Like, but what's the outcome of that status? Like, okay, I'm doing competitive programming. And my comment is like, to what end? And I've talked about this on other podcasts. Like, more often than not, my experience is the people who dig in on competitor programming, one, have not laid the groundwork in terms of mechanics, consistency, and intensity, like shoring up their fitness level to reap the benefits of that program. So what they're doing then is they're exposing their body to a shit ton of reps and loading and, movements that their body's not prepared to do at intensity levels that are not anywhere near what the intention of the programmers are. And they do that for 3 to 5 years. And then they blow a shoulder out or they get a bum knee. And then they're like, CrossFit fucked me up. Fuck you, asshole. Like, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. You didn't do CrossFit. You banged your face against a brick wall and got surprised when you got a bloody nose. And ran.
How do you follow that, Ash?
I know. I was kind of hoping he wasn't done because I was still absorbing everything. The one thing, you said it. Well, you said a bunch of things that really stood
I always
out.
do.
Yes, I did
Said a
say
bunch
a bunch of
of
things.
things. You said a few things that really stood out, and I was trying to, pin them in my brain. One, like coaches muddying the water by not leading by example. Our affiliate, we tried to drive home at the beginning of this 3 weeks that this month of programming, the workouts are going to, remain the same kind of programming. And it's up to us and you as individuals to kind of take that intensity down from what it would normally be. If you are truly trying to use these open workouts as a true test of fitness, right? You just want to make sure you have that recovery time so that if you're doing the workout on Friday or Sunday or whenever you choose to do it, you've kind of scaled appropriately so that you are ready to go and give that 100% intensity that day. Not give
concept.
100% intensity Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday when you do the open WOD and then wonder why you did not so great and then do it again on Monday, right? Like, and it's up to us as coaches to communicate that to our athletes and, maybe dig a little bit deeper into it for some who aren't sure and make sure like it's clear that you're open for discussion if people don't understand how to do that. I did have an athlete say to me, I hear 3, 2, 1, go, and my brain just shuts off and I'm like, bah. So, for her, it was teaching her, okay, well then whatever weight you'd normally do, take that weight down, right? Like, and let's take the reps down a little bit, all that kind of stuff. But I digress. I'm going on a rant. My point was, if I'm saying that all as a coach and then I'm doing the workout before the noon class and somebody comes in early to get nice and loose and they see me go balls to the wall, dying on the floor all dramatically, then they're going to go, well, wait, is that looks like she just did that at full intensity. And I know she's doing the open workout at 5:30 tomorrow morning. Like how I am not leading by example. Right.
And go on, Ash.
No, it's just that there's my opportunity. I jump into a class on a Wednesday or Thursday. People know I'm going to do the workout Friday morning to, maybe my method usually to keep my intensity down is nasal breathing and moving with a breath. That's just how I know my body and how I move to keep my intensity a bit lower. And I'm going to take the weight down. If it calls for a 50-pound dumbbell, I'm probably going to use like a 30-pound dumbbell. If it calls for a 35, I'm probably going to use a 20-pound dumbbell. But I'm going to do that in front of other people so that they can see, oh, Coach Ashley does that too. She's not just saying it.
I used to have a standing rule in the affiliate that if you are doing the open on Friday afternoon, then Friday, and you would normally train Friday morning, then that's a rest day. Like, do not come to class Friday morning, and preferably take a rest day on Thursday. Like, that's just, and push it out a day for Saturdays. And we were one and done. Like, it's like you do it once. Just because you're going to improve yourself from 100,095th to 100,093rd, like, there's no what's the value. Give it your best in that thing. But it's amazing that the pushback that you get. And I even had some coaches over my time, not my most recent coaches, but who were like, yeah, but why? Like, I want to, do this, or I want to, it's like, okay, well, how can you tell the members to not do that when you are doing exactly the opposite? And they just, it was a constant like back and forth, but it's like, I'm putting these filters in because I know as humans we're stupid.
Yeah.
And we will do dumb things. So I'm being the grown up in the room, and I'm going to put some filters in.
Yeah.
To protect you from yourself.
Right.
It's like, Sam, you've got a young one. It's like, I'm going to protect you from you and doing dumb stuff. That's why we have kitty gates and, things for that.
Sure.
But how do we, communicate that in a way that they see, to coaches and the coaches and even affiliate owners who are listening, it's like, understanding the impact of the incongruence between our actions and our intentions can affect our ability to influence the lives and change those lives and create that trust and credibility.
Well, I mean, you said it, whether knowingly or not. You said, yeah, but why? And in this particular case, it's the coach has to ask the person, yeah, but why do you want to do that? I have to ask the head coach has to ask the coaches, why do you want to do that? And that question has to be answered. Like, we don't get the luxury of not answering, yeah, why? And, I'll speak from my own experience. I have been at affiliates where, like, high-level athletes were a part of the community. And when I say high-level athletes, I'm not talking about that dude who made it to regionals. I'm talking about people who went to the CrossFit Games multiple years in a row. And seeing those people doing the volume of work that they do in an affiliate is a blessing and a curse. The blessing part is it can be very attractive. Like, people can see that, and it, like, some gyms hang their hat on the fact that someone went to regionals or someone went to the games, and like they got those boards that they hang up on the wall, and like that's it for them. Like, but if it's not handled very, very carefully, what I have seen happen, what I've seen go wrong, is the members who are not coaches, they just, it's monkey see, monkey do. They come in, they see such and such a person doing 2-a-days or doing, strength in a Metcon. And that's talk about a whole different incongruency when you've got the class doing single workout of the day and the head coach or the coach, whatever, doing strength in a Metcon. They see the bonus volume that this person is doing, and they say, well, he or she is really fit. That must be what you got to do. And so not only do they start showing up, now they're jumping in with that person. And that puts that person in a hard place because they don't want to tell that member no, but that they've now laid the groundwork for someone coming in and doing a whole bunch of stuff. And that makes your life as an affiliate owner harder. It makes it hard to justify what you do. It makes it hard for members to be patient enough and introspective enough to actually measure their progress against themselves instead of comparing what they do against someone who does more. And no matter how well they do, they find themselves lacking because they did less. There's any number of issues that come up with that.
Yeah.
And I think, having members see that, like you said, it's a blessing and a curse. But unfortunately, when you have members who come to the gym for their hour a day, that's what they see. But they don't actually see the recovery, the meal prepping, the eating, the sleeping, all of that stuff that high-level athlete is also doing,
Yeah.
all they see is the fun, sexy stuff. It's like I used to joke in the affiliate, like, ain't no one coming for PT to work on the overhead squat,
Yeah. Right.
but they're all coming to get a 1 rep max snatch or a deadlift because that's the fun, sexy stuff. Like, no one is doing their, squat therapy,
Yeah.
but everyone wants to do, 1 rep max or get a faster, Fran. It's those things that aren't actually seen and visible. So when you're in there broing out and you're doing like your 2 a day, 3 a day, 4 a day, whatever, and people can get an idealized thing about, what is that? And that's all it takes. Well, no, but you've also got to sleep 10 hours, and this is my sole job. This is what I do. And I'm eating, 6,000 calories a day, and I'm meal prepping, and I'm doing the things.
Yeah.
And I'm stretching and foam rolling. Like, they do their sessions, they go home and they go and do their recovery.
Yeah.
You're not seeing that on the gym floor. So that's probably the other addition to the curse.
Well, so that's a great thing to talk about. Real quick aside, first of all, nobody wants a faster Fran time. All they want to do is they want to do 21:15.9 thrusters at 1:15 and bar muscle ups and call themselves fitter.
Yeah.
But talk about the unsexy stuff. Like, and I'm gonna get on a soapbox here for a second. If you are not every day for a year meal prepping, sleeping 8 to 10 hours at a minimum, right? Going as hard as you can, one workout a day, single workout, maximum intensity, just fucking redline it, and taking minimum 2 full days off for rest days, you have not laid the groundwork to up your output to competitor level programming. Period, full stop. And you can argue with me, and I'd love to, anyone who's out there, please, like, come out and, like, my handle's right there on the screen. Like, come at me, bro. And we can have a discussion about this. But, like, the people who are operating at that level, like, and this was the blessing for me when I first got into CrossFit, my head coach was CrossFit seminar staff and multiple time CrossFit Games athletes. I got an up close and personal view of what it took to be a competitive athlete. And within 3 months, I was like, nope, I'm all set. I am not interested in making my whole life revolve around that, because that's what you have to do. Period. Ben Bergeron had a famous quote. He's like, if you don't snatch 300 pounds and have a 2-minute Fran, you don't get to play. And like, that's it, bro. Like, anything short of that, and those people, they have fantastic mobility. Nobody's got like fucking tight shoulders and going to the games. Like, that's not happening.
Yeah, it's that whole, we only see what we want to see because it suits our narrative and the story we're telling ourselves. Yeah. So, I remember way back when, back in the early days, when Rich was, kicking butt and they were all, what are you eating? He's like, I just have milkshakes and peanut butter jelly sandwiches like that. And everyone's like, oh, and then, it was literally everyone used to train doing 1 a day. Then it was like, oh, well, maybe I should add some strength in or work on a skill, which is how it started, to work on a skill, or someone like Spieler to get a little bit stronger. Yeah. And then suddenly it just morphed into this, well, what is Rich doing? Which was the Jason Kalipa quote when he's like, well, I need to do more. People are outworking me. And then it just sort of grew. And then you've got, Joe Brown walks into a gym and goes, yeah, I want to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, and I can live on peanut butter sandwiches. It's like, yeah, but can you?
And that's like the biggest problem is people see the, like Sam said, the big sexy stuff when they walk in and they see somebody doing the competitor programming or whatever. And if that person is an actual competitor and is meant to be doing that stuff, and they are in that, top 10%, they've already taken the time to make sure all the skills are refined. And guess what? Some of that programming is still refining those skills.
Yeah.
But when a new athlete walks in the door, or even an athlete of 5 years of CrossFit or 10 years, and sees that, and then they go, I want to jump in. It's like, well, wait a second, let's dial back. Is the intensity there? in your hour that you are in CrossFit? Is your mobility there? Is your skill work there? Or are you just, when you do your 1 rep max snatch, are you just brute strengthen it overhead? Right? Like, because if any of those things, are not on point, then you still have, even if just one of those things are not on point, you've got at least a full year of hours of work every day.
Yeah.
On the one thing.
Well, and it's not 2015 anymore. Like, nobody accidentally goes to, like, gone are the days when you could just be Matt Fraser and be like, okay, well, I like fitness and I need money, so I'm going to do a bunch of regional competitions and win and accidentally go to the CrossFit Games. People forget that he was an Olympic fucking athlete before that. You know, and he had no cardio, but he was still an Olympic weightlifter, like an Olympic weightlifter. And that doesn't happen anymore. It's like the delta.
But I mean, back in 2010 when Rich was like, I'm just going to sign up for this sectional and just go do that. Like, that's not the, you can't do that. So how do we, as coaches then who, I want to be a professional coach. I am a professional coach. So how do I navigate this minefield and, build that trust with people? Because we've talked a lot in this through, the $1 Million Coach podcast and through, in our seminars talking about, positioning ourselves and building that trust because, people need to feel like that this person can help me.
Yeah.
So if I'm a coach in this space, how do I, flip that and make that connection with people?
Well, so again, hot take incoming. Like, you don't get to be like a doctor in residence and walk around acting like you're some hotshot neurologist. Like, that doesn't happen in real life. Like, there are, levels that you ascend through. And so if you want to be taken like a professional coach, like if you want to be a professional, start acting like a professional. Don't open your mouth and let something fall out of it for your clients and then you go and do something else. Like, the currency that you have with your clients is trust and reputation. That's it. Because, as soon as that's undermined, then it's gone. You have no clients. No one will listen to you. And the ones that the ones that you do have now are going to really, like, your life's going to get hard as a coach. If you're not, you do not have to be the fittest human being in the world or even in the room to be effective at coaching. What you have to be is trustworthy and focused on delivering value, focused on trying to get better, not for yourself, but so you can deliver a better service. And if you're wondering, like, how to go about doing that, I encourage everybody to go back to your level 1 manual and read Professional Coaching by Greg Glassman. Like, it is your job as a coach to continue to advance your skills, because if you're doing well, your members will continue to get better. And so you must continue to get better as a coach. That doesn't mean that you get at any point the leeway to now say, rules for thee, but not for me. You know what I mean? And the moment you start to do that, not only do you erode credibility and erode trust, but you undermine the whole profession. And you take it from a person who is someone who is knowledgeable about human anatomy and movement mechanics and multiple different disciplines, maybe more so than like a good CrossFit coach understands, endurance sports and Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting and gymnastics and the mixing and melding and of all of them, not to mention, human anatomy and all of the underpinnings of all of those things, maybe better than most strength and conditioning coaches, right? But the moment you say, yeah, but I'm going to go like hop on yada yada competitor programming and, oh, you shouldn't do that, but this is okay for me because I'm the coach. Like, bro, you just lost the right to call yourself a coach. and you undermine the entire industry in doing so. And there are people who just drives me up the wall. I don't know if you can tell. There are people who are trying to make this their livelihood. There are
Yeah.
people who want to be professional coaches. They want to change lives. And if that is not, part of me wants to say, if that is not where you are aiming, if you're just looking to get a free membership and coach a couple classes a week, make that known. Put that on a t-shirt and wear it so that people don't confuse you with a coach.
And, not that there's anything wrong with that, because we do need trainers as well as coaches, and we do need those people.
Sure.
But be mindful of what you're promoting and selling, I guess, as,
Well, and
for
and
what
for
you want that
affiliate-
you...
Go
go.
ahead.
No, you go. You go.
Well, for affiliate owners, affiliate owners need people to run classes. They absolutely do. And one of the most powerful questions I ever got asked was, what kind of coach do you want to be? And there's a big spectrum there. There's all the way at one side, there's the person who just wants to coach a couple classes a week and they have their free membership and they want to be liked by everybody. And on the other side is a person who is at the highest possible levels of capability and efficacy and everything in between. And there's no wrong answer, right? And so everybody gets to pick for themselves. But one of the things that we have harped on over and over and over again is the difference between a coach and a trainer, right? And if you're operating over here in what I've described, you are a trainer. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And affiliate owners need trainers. Yeah. But we need coaches too. We need a lot more coaches than we need trainers right now. And
not for nothing, but this is the $1 Million Coach podcast, not the $1 Million Trainer podcast. So yes, we need you trainers. Trust me, you are very valuable. And but
there's a ceiling.
It's not big, but there's just it's not who we're talking to.
You're putting time for money, which is not what we're necessarily talking about. And it's I guess we talk about the progression of a coach is almost like the fitness, wellness, sickness continuum.
Yes.
It's
yeah,
everything can come back to that kind of that design, but it's we told it we talk about coaches as in context that coaches aren't necessarily giving advice. We're asking more questions, and I know that's very much what we do at Fitfiliate. So as a coach, the first person you should be asking those questions to is the self.
Yeah.
Why do I need to? Why does it matter to me that I'm doing different things? Why does it matter to me, that I, why is it important to me that I'm doing this program where I aspire to be, 75,000s in the world versus 85,000s? Where are my priorities, and and this is another thing we talk to our Fit Affiliate clients about. Do my actions and intentions align with who I say I want to be and where I say I want to go? And if those things aren't lined up, I want to be a professional coach. Yeah, but you focus on training 6 hours a day and, giving people the generic thing, then what you're doing and saying are not aligning with where you say you want to be.
Yeah.
And there's that gap.
Yeah. And everything. Yes. And now we're back to why. Why the hell are you doing this? Right. And if I think it was Jung, I don't know if it was Jung or Freud, one of them was saying that if there is a difference between what you call important and the way that you act, there's a discrepancy between the things that you say are important and the way you execute your life, if those are not incongruents, it is a recipe for soul sickness.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that everything is so life and death in the fitness world, but, in terms of asking questions, the coach is the one, the trainer is the one who said, elbows up, elbows up, elbows up, a little bit more, elbows up. The coach is the one who asks to themselves, and then maybe also to the athlete, after 5 years, why is elbows up not working for you? Why, when I say that, is what I want to happen not happening, right? And if you're not asking those questions, if you're not looking for ways to what ends up being delivering a better service, like that is the progression, talking about that continuum, right? Over here is the trainer, call reps, congratulations, good job. The cheerleader that the CrossFit training podcast was talking, or Instagram was talking about, right? And on the other side is the coach, the one whose value is solely measured by their efficacy and the performance of their athletes. You know, and that's not to say that there isn't a component of cheerleading, which is something that drove me nuts about that post. There are a lot of people who got upset about that. Missed the point entirely. But if we're talking about bridging the gap and bringing people more to the coach side and the value and the income that comes with that, you do not get to do that without doing an honest assessment of where you are. And some people don't know. Like, they don't know what they don't know.
I mean, and that's the benefit. You know, I've always been a big believer in, you know, even coaches need coaches. Like,
Yes.
we all need that external set of eyes on us to, you know, maybe call us on our bullshit that we're not able to call ourselves on, or that we just gloss over. And, you know, to ask that question of us, why? Because, you know, people don't like to get down into self-reflection at times because it's a bit icky and a bit like, it's easier for me to go and do 5 hours of training than contemplate my navel and be honest with myself. That's a hard thing to do. You know, it's getting to that point of understanding that, you know, how do I structure my life so that, yes, this is what I say I really want, to make sure that my actions and intentions and values align with that. And therefore, when a client looks at you and goes, yeah, and they talk to you and understand, it's like, yeah, well, you say that you're this sort of person and you're this sort of coach, and I see you doing those things. People like us do things like this. Then it becomes a very positive game of monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
I think, you know, and we've thrown this phrase around a lot, leading by example, right? Positive role models, I'll use the phrase, positive role models that exist inside of, you know, the ecosystem of an affiliate or in the larger ecosystem of CrossFit, who take their own medicine, who do the things they tell other people to do. Like, they're tremendously underappreciated, you know? And some of it people can write off. They say, well, that person's always been fit. Austin Malleola is a great example of this. This guy lives, eats, shits, and breathes the CrossFit methodology. And I've been around him enough to know that, like, if he says take your own medicine, it's because he's doing it.
Yeah.
And when he was over at Reebok, like, and if you were a coach there, like, say you had, I know some coaches who, you know, they're trying to shore up their own weaknesses because they're high level athletes as well. And they're trying to make it to regionals, and this back when regionals was the thing, make it to regionals and make it to the games. Austin's like, cool, you do that on your own time. You want to work out while you're here inside of the Reebok headquarters, you do the workout of the day and you do it in class. And he was ruthless about applying that. Dude went to the games a bunch of times following that rule, you know?
Yeah.
And sure, he worked on other stuff, but he also did his workout of the day, same as his class. And the buy-in level at that gym, oh man, nobody talked back. Nobody was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Everybody did what those coaches did, because all of those coaches led from the front.
And they could back it up.
Well, and they could back it up. And like, not all of them were like, you know, Denise is a great example. Denise ran that gym with him. She is a great athlete and an amazing coach, but everyone in that place, you didn't get to go work there unless you played by the rules. And she tells stories, and like, as a person who is a head coach and a trainer at a bunch of different places, like, they're like dream classes where all of the members are like, you're like, jump, and they're like, cool, let's jump, or let's squat. Yeah, let's hold the bottom of a squat. Yeah, let's hold the bottom of a squat in an overhead squat and just like sit there. Yeah, let's sit here for like 2 minutes. Like, everybody loved that shit, and they were fit as hell. Sorry. Right.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's up to us. We have to, CrossFit also talks a lot about working your weaknesses. Like, what
Mhm.
do you hate doing? Are you doing more of it? You know, like if you hate running, stop dodging the running workouts, right?
Oh
Like,
man.
Well,
don't call it stupid. Just like, yep, this is what I
well,
need. This
how
is
many
what,
people are? I don't need to run because it'll never be in the open. Oh,
yeah.
hold my beer.
Yeah.
People who
Yeah.
just focused on that each year. It's like, I don't need to run. It'll never be in the open.
Yeah.
Hold my beer.
It says the person who will never make it to semi or to quarterfinals.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that, and again, you've got the people who go, oh, it's running, but I'm going to be on an assault runner. So I'm just going to do all my running on that. I don't need to run outside. It's like,
That's worse.
well, yeah, it's the devil.
Mhm.
But
It is the devil.
like just living your life, and I guarantee you, if people are, or if coaches are doing these things that aren't in congruence and living in alignment inside the affiliate, you can sure as shit bet that if they did a deep dive on their external life, they're missing. There's gaps everywhere that if they tidy those up, that might prevent them from, or if they fill those gaps or started living in that alignment without getting too sort of woo woo for everybody, but they might find that they're able to connect better with people. They might find they're able to tell their story a little more authentically. And if they're struggling for clients and stuff, it's like, I just don't feel like people get me. Could be.
And
Go ahead.
that's what I was just gonna say and bring it back to is like, this is not an attack on any coaches of, like, we have bad days, we mess up, we're all human. That's always the goes without saying kind of thing. But yeah, if you're having a hard time and trying to figure out how you can step up your coaching level, well, what are you doing regularly? Not just inside of the gym, maybe outside of the gym too, right? If you're staying up
Mm,
late every night and getting 4 hours of sleep for whatever reason, and then talking to your members about how it's important to make sure you're recovered so that you can be on point, right? Like, I mean, now
mm,
you got babies, you've got life, you've got stuff, it's going to happen. But if you're constantly doing that and not like, just, it's that look in the mirror. If you're wondering why you're feeling stuck, what could you be doing differently to practice what you preach? And maybe you'll notice some gaps start to get filled, or you'll notice when you're having a conversation with one of your athletes, like, oh, I actually experienced that. I might be able to talk to you a little bit about this that might help you. Like, give me some more information about what this feels like when it happens, or whatever the case may be.
Well,
mm.
I think, Lisa, I love how you're like, well, not to get too woo woo. No. Let's get woo woo.
Yeah, I
Because
love the
almost
book.
almost certainly whatever you have done as a coach that has gotten you to where you are, your repeat actions are not going to get you to where you want to be. And so you're going to have to get uncomfortable. You're going to have to get a little woo woo. You're going to have to, sit down and do a gratitude journal. And you're going to have to, first of all, there's all the stuff that like you're probably not doing that you could do better. Pay attention to your diet, actually sleep, take some rest days, right? All of those things serve to create credibility and trust inside of your athlete community, between you and your athletes, and just in the profession in general. So please do us all a favor and go do that. Second of all, your emotional and psychological growth is directly related to your ability to provide transcendent value, right? Like value that transcends the physical realm, which Nathan Bird has a great kind of diagram. It's XY axis, and over here is technical coaching, and up here is emotional coaching, and somewhere in the middle is like what you want to aim for, and then way out at the opposite corner is this thing called transformational coaching, where and everybody who's in a CrossFit gym has experienced this. And especially if you're a coach, you experience this. That person who communicates in a way that unites the physical and the emotional, you know? And if you want to go from making whatever it is, $20 a class to closing six figures, you're not going to be able to avoid that. You're going to, the higher you aim for delivering service, the more you are going to leave the realm of the physical. And the more you're going to start talking about, how do you feel? How can I support you? What's your mindset like? You know, hey, when was the last time you did your gratitude journal? Right? And you're providing additional resources that have nothing to do with when was the last time they did Fran, what was their 5K, or what was their 1 rep max snatch?
And I think, you know, I can speak to this personally. Like, clearly, you know, never going to be the world's greatest athlete. That's just not my DNA. But, you know, get in, give it a red hot crack. But a lot of the time when I first started running the affiliate, I was reluctant to tell my story because, you know, like publicly, because I didn't want to be, you know, judged or whatever, and it held me back a lot. But I knew that members were coming to me because they're like, well, you're real and you get it. You know that it's not, you know, an easy pass. You're not going to eat perfectly all the time. You know, there are things that go behind your nutrition struggles that are not just, you know, I can't be bothered. There's a whole raft of things that I understood because they were struggles I felt. And when I tapped into actually being vulnerable and putting my story out there on video, just send it on the grams or whatever, like, very exposing, but it led to a whole new demographic of clients that came through that, like, you get me. And even, you know, recently I did a post in my coaching group that I have for my mindset coaching, and someone's like, yeah, I trust you. And they're a friend I haven't spoken to since 1995, except, you know, on Facebook, and I like their photos and they like mine. It's like, I would work with you. I trust you. It's like,
Yeah.
and you just like, okay, so being real, and people know that it's not easy and that I struggle with things, and I've been very transparent about that. And through being able to put that out, because that's very congruent with my actions and what I'm doing and, you know, what my struggles are, people can then identify with that. And there's an opportunity to have those conversations which lead to, hey, I've walked this path. Let me help you. Let me walk it with you. And, you know, there's opportunities that I can help you.
Yeah.
And it's not about sales, it's solutions. As I, you know, said before this call, Sam, like you and I had a call last week, and I went, it's not about sales mode, it's solutions mode.
Yeah.
So we're not still talking about selling stuff. It's like, I have a solution from my own lived experience.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't look like I've ever lived that experience, if Rich Froning were to say to somebody, listen, you know, morbidly obese, I can help you, you know, I understand where you're at. I love you, Rich, but you don't. You honestly, you've worked with a lot of clients, but you've never walked the walk.
Yeah.
So they can see that alignment, that it's like, yeah, you know what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And it's not just supposed to be easy. So it gives you that space for connection.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I debated if I'm going to ask this question or not, but I'm going to.
Here we go.
Lisa.
Here we go.
So
Ash.
just an example.
Mm.
The first, you said, you know, wanted to do this CrossFit thing. I know I'm not going to be an athlete. Well, why not? Do you want to be an athlete? Right? Like that would, if I'm your coach, that's what I would say. Why not? Do you want to be an athlete?
Yep.
Well, yeah.
And
all right. Well, then let's make you an athlete. Right? Like,
and the amount of times we had that conversation with members is like, you're doing the thing, you're an athlete. It says it on your shirt. Like, yeah, it's having that conversation and being able to, why not, rather than just go, yeah, well, cool, you're going to be over in the corner doing the scaled stuff all the time. Yeah, that's it is a good question, you know, Ash, and to be able to have the, you know, yeah, I felt like that way when I came into the gym for the first time, but let me tell you, and let me show you.
Yeah.
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 That's a great question to ask. I had a question like that with one of my clients earlier. And this person was talking about whether or not they wanted to pursue, fitness at a higher level and go for competition, or if they wanted to, go down the realm of business and entrepreneurship. And I said, "Did you talk to your partner?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "And what'd your partner say?" And they said, "Well, I wouldn't normally recommend it, but you could probably do it." And I said, "Uh-huh." And my question is, why not both? Like, why not both? Like, if these are important, you don't have to pick one or the other. If these things are important, cool. What do we have to do to make it happen? But if we don't ask, why do I want to do this thing? If we don't outline the reasons behind it, we don't leave that place for exploration inside of ourselves, hopefully with a coach so that you can gut check it against the crazy committee of one, then like if we don't ask the why, we never get to the deeper reason. And it's the deeper reason that's going to carry you through the BS and the lack of motivation and all of the other stuff to your success. Like the people who skip the why get distracted by the what's invariably, every single time.
And the what's will only take you so far.
Right? Absolutely.
Because
Strengthening that
people
only takes you so
realize
far.
there's no substance behind it.
No.
Yeah, it's like all the shiny things, and then you go, "Oh shit, I have a million shiny things, and all of them are operating all around me, and I don't know which one to pick up next to put down."
Right?
I don't know what to do next.
And they just become,
So I guess, to put a pin in this one, guys, and as we wrap it up, is, live in congruence. Like, it's not do as I say, not as I do. Like, make sure everything aligns.
Yeah.
And have those that will make you feel more authentic and more comfortable to have those deeper conversations. Final thoughts, Sam?
Different people have different reasons for doing different things, right? You want to do competitive programming? Cool. Have a why and be willing and vulnerable enough to stand in front of your community and explain that. This is why I'm doing this. These are the pros. These are the cons. These are the things I'm going to benefit from. These are the things I'm going to have to sacrifice, and be honest and transparent about that. If you're doing that at that level of vulnerability and honesty, I have no problem with you doing like, Mayhem Individual and HWPO at the same time. Like, I don't care. What I care about is when you lie to yourself or you never ask the question, almost worse. And there are people inside of these affiliates who need this magic, and they need you as a coach or a trainer, whichever. Man, I want you all. Like, they need you. And so they need to trust you. And if they don't trust you, they don't get the magic. And for them, it might be life or death.
Ash, last thoughts? You get the final word today.
Well, let's see. The whole lead by example thing, I mean, the best question you can ask yourself is when you're struggling with making a choice of doing something, whether it's competitor programming, whether it's going out for a night of drinking with your buddies, or, stretching for an hour instead of going to CrossFit that day, ask yourself, if X athlete came up to me and asked me that same question and I knew how they were feeling because I'm feeling X way, what would I tell them? Is it a vote to move them and myself in the direction I'm trying to go, or they're trying to go? And that's the best that you can do. And sometimes you don't know the right answer. And I think if you stop and ask yourself that question, you'll have a gut feeling of which is the best one for you now.
You'll get closer to that right answer for sure.
Yeah.
All right, team. Well, good chat. We hit a few good topics and good perspectives in that, as always. Love talking to you guys. Don't forget, guys, if you're listening to this, please like, subscribe, follow, share it with a coach that you think needs to benefit. Also, registrations are live for the $1 million or the 6-figure coach seminar held at CrossFit Downtown Atlanta at the end of this month. Spots are very limited. You'll get FOMO if you are not at the first one. Trust me.
Yeah.
You know, this is a very limited opportunity. So links are all in the show notes below. For those that look at the show notes, I know I do. Follow us, subscribe, give us a rating, give us a review. And if you need anything, reach out. Ask a question. We're happy to help. We're happy to hook you up for a conversation. Absolutely.
If you want to hear us discuss something too, put that in make a little comment.
Yeah, make a comment. Put it in the show notes. Slide into our DMs. You know, let's just make the magic happen. Share it far and wide. All right, team. I'll see you on the next one.